All right, so I have a theory. So we know that we had a God gene. It makes people more susceptible towards having a spiritual experience. We also have a gene in our bodies that makes us more prone to worship. And you could actually think about stories like the Anunnaki creator gods, who were technologically advanced, and they became part machine because they understood, one, this will give them longevity, maybe even immortality, but also you could bend reality to your will. Now, when you start thinking about indoctrination from day one, all of the little boxes they check, and then you start thinking about the illusions that entertainment in the world casts, how we live in a world within the world, it might not be hard to conclude that there could be something sinister going on in terms of controlling the masses. It's not just the lies and the manipulation and illusions. It's the fact that they gave you everything that you actually know. They program you to a fear reward system, and then they scare you from having original thoughts. Now, when you think about all of the distractions that life can afford you, your work, your job, your life, entertainment, war, the media, news, right? Apps, TikTok, YouTube. When you think about all of these different mediums to keep you distracted, you could actually see how Earth could be presented to be a farm to the people. Like, we're on a farm, we're in the matrix, we're in the machine, feeding the beast, bro. That's what it starts to look like. Now, that's not a bad thing, right? We all have a purpose, but it kind of lets you know that your purpose is something that you have to create for yourself, because the elites, Anunnaki, the devil, whatever this thing is, it has quite literally different plans for your life. When you look at figures like Jesus, straight up told you, you're not going to find God in the church, yet y'all still go to church and worship y'all pastors. If a Christian is doing an exorcist, they call upon the name of Jesus. I'm not saying you're wrong. If there's power in the word, there's power in the word. There's power in names. However, you're not calling upon God. That is actually a very pivotal difference between Catholics and definitely Christians in terms of exorcisms. But let's move past that. What is the message? The message is, it doesn't matter who Jesus was. He was a man. That was y'all brother, and y'all still worship him like he's God. Y'all will go to Jesus first before y'all go to God. This is idol worship. Now let's look at hip hop and all of these other figures, people y'all look up to. Once again, Nicki Minaj, perfect example. How many kids wanted to be like Nicki? How many people wanted to be a Barbie? This is idol worship. These presidents, false idols. They are not real leadership, because real leadership would have came up with a solution. We keep going through the same things over and over again with just a new face. Repackage, repurpose, refurbish, reissue. And y'all eat it up every time. When you look at all of the different mediums of self-worship and idol worship, all the way down to statues and figures of God, right? We can't comprehend God, so we create a physical representation of this thing to help us better understand. In the midst of that, we get trapped in our egos, and then evil creeps in, and we create these sanctimonious platitudes, which creates division between you and your brethren, all out of some false ideology that doesn't even fully explain the real thing. Do you understand how this worship gene is working? Let's think about super wealthy rich people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to name some of these politicians, but basically the crooked politicians, right, that already made millions off of, and they still 70, 80, don't want to retire. Why? It's because they're not really happy, guys. Money doesn't actually buy happiness. Money is another illusion, dog. Straight up. And it's another thing to worship. Power, another thing to worship. This world that we live on, from our athletes to our pastors to our y'all worship these people. Sir, you take your wife to a church with a pastor she respects, she's going to run and hug him before you. I bet you she greets that man with a tone that she don't even greet you with in the morning. Something wrong with that, ladies. Same thing with you men. Y'all all lost in idol worship, bro. I understand that a lot of y'all online don't like blanket statements, but go look in the mirror and see what's been placed inside your mind as an idol. And then see who this idol is, and see how much emotion and love you actually have for this person that don't know you at all. This is idol worship, period. The reason, once again, that these things are so easy for us to become acclimated towards, right? For us to develop a palate for, it's not just in our fast food. It's in everything. The music, the media. It's in everything. Sympathy for the devil narratives. like Bella in Twilight, knowing she's going to lose her life and soul and be a blood-drinking demon forever, still chose to give up her spirit out of love for the demon. The show Lucifer, it goes on. These sympathy for the devil narratives blind you and make you more accepting towards not just external evil, but even your own. So when you think about the boxes of indoctrination, name, school, location, job, when you think about narratives, successful, what makes you successful and happy, right? When you think about fast food, convenient foods, everything has been given to you for a convenience, but it's not to benefit you. It's made, these things are made so convenient because it's clearly a blatant distraction. It's clearly attacked to destroy you, period. What I find very interesting about the Anunnaki and even God, even in those stories, there were great floods. There was always war in the heavens. There was always some good or evil deity. Even in ancient stories, there were hot creatures here on earth that were tampered with and evolved. Even if you don't believe that, we got scientific evidence that shows that the telomeres on our DNA strands have been shortened. So you know you've been tampered with. The real question is, who did it? Was it God, the devil, or the Anunnaki? But if your telomeres can be shortened, then they can definitely install a idol worship program in you. Go meditate and figure out what protocols have been put into your spirit that you did not welcome in. I'm gone.